Hi everyone, I hope you all are doing good. In my today's session, I'm going to cover the Microsoft Azure text translation service. So basically, Microsoft Azure has provided translation as a service here, but it is not only limited to translator, but there are a lot of additional features provided as part of this service. So without wasting much time, let's start exploring what this translator is basically. Okay, so let's start with that. So when you click on the create a new resource link or button in Microsoft Azure portal and search for translator, okay, you we will usually end up with this translator screen. So you can see the description provided. Easily integrate real-time text translation capabilities into your applications, websites, tools, or any solution requiring multi-language support such as website localization, e-commerce, customer support, messaging applications, internal communication, and more. So basically, it is up to us how we are going to use this translation. Only requirement is that we must have a requirement of getting translator or text into multiple languages. Okay, so let's go to the create translator page. Okay, so here in the basic section, again we have to select our subscription. Okay, the Azure subscription, and inside that Azure subscription we have to select the resource group. As I keep on iterating in my various videos, that a resource group basically represents various application environments, okay, like dev, QA, UAT, prod. Okay, so each resource group basically represents one environment. So what I have done, I have selected a subscription and I have selected a resource group for my usage basically. So region, I have selected West Europe, and name, I have given uh, a very unique name in order to identify this text translation. Okay, so usually I follow an approach of naming in such a way that for example, if I will start with, first I will start with a location that is EU, for example EUW, that is for West Europe. Okay, then the fourth character I use to represent my environment, like D for development, U for UAT, P for prod. Okay. Then comes my department basically. Okay. So for example, say MBS, inside MBS, what is the sub department? Okay. The sub department it is HR. So MBS HR, then the resource name. Okay. Over here, CTT, the cognitive service text translator, and then the sequence number 0102, as many as instances I require. So this is how I follow the naming conventions, but you are free to follow your own. Okay. Price in tier, most important thing. Okay. I have selected pay as you go because I don't know how many characters per day I'm going to translate. There are some other plans available in the standard section as well as in premium section basically, but again we don't know how many characters or text we are going to translate. So what I would prefer is I would like to go with pay as you go. Okay, so that is the option I have selected, and let's move on to the next screen. Network, the most important thing. Okay, in the network tab basically, what I have done is I have selected the option of all networks including the internet can access this resource. Okay, I have not made it selected networks. Okay, where configure network security for your cognitive service resource disabled, no networks can access this resource. Again, not at all a useful option for me. Okay, you could configure private endpoint connection, that will be the exclusive way to access this resource. No, I want it to be accessed over internet because I'm damn sure this text translation resource can only be accessed if I have the resource endpoint key or API endpoint key. So that is with me in my secret key vault, so no need to worry about it. Or whoever, or with whoever I share, only those people will be able to access. So that's all networks that I have selected. So move on. Identity tab, enable system assigned identity to grant the resource access to other existing resources. I have turned it off. I don't want to provide any specific managed identity over here. Then comes translator. Okay, then comes tag section. I have provided a project ID and some value for that. And the final option, it will run a validation. Okay, basically, and if validation is passed, then you can go and create the text translation service. So it will just give a recap of whatever we have done in various steps: subscription ID, my region, my name that I provided, my pricing tier, that standard as one, pay as you go. All networks including the internet and can access this resource. For the network section identity, I have not set any specific identity here. Okay, and the tags. Now once once I click on the create button, basically it will deploy the text translation service to my resource group. Okay, the resource group that I had selected in the basics tab. Okay, so once that deployment is done, I will be able to see the resource in my Azure portal basically. Okay, so over here, yeah, I can see that my text translation resource is created. Resource group, the resource group detail is here. API type translator, endpoints, I can simply click on this link and I can go to the endpoint URLs which are available for me, and manage keys basically, which will give me the API endpoint keys in order to access this translation service. Okay, same thing, I can go from this left navigation pane, that is the resource management, from keys and endpoint also, both options provided. So move on. One, okay, yeah, now I have navigated to this keys and endpoint section over here. So as you can see, two keys will be provided. We can make use of anyone and we will be given option to regenerate these keys. These are basically secret keys. Don't share with everyone, or don't keep it a normal configuration files, and it should not be available to anyone except you and your team. So do take care of that, and the best place to save these keys will be in your application key vault or Azure key vault. Okay guys, so well, that said, then the location region I have selected, I want my translation to be deployed on a global region, so the translation should happen on global level. Okay, I can select specific regions also, like Europe, West Europe, or Americas, Asia, like that, but I have kept it global here. Okay, so basically, if you are specific about your location, you can select your specific location like Europe only. You, if you want the translation service to translate only European languages or Asian languages or only in America, then select specific region. But if you want it to be used globally, then set the location or region as global. Now, web API, use the below endpoints while using the web API. Okay, so basically I am making use of web API. Okay, in order to get my text translated, so to force the request to be handled by a specific geography. See here, that's what, there are other options available. So text translation, for text translation, this is the endpoint URI that I have to make use of. Okay, so this is it, https://api.cognitive.microsoft sorry, microsofttranslator.com. Okay, now most important part, the text translation service translates the text sent into your request, as well as it has the capability to translate text sent inside a document basically, or in a file. Okay, it has the capability to translate the text as well as any kind of file or a document. The supported formats I will show you soon. I think .pdf, .excel, it seems, and word files all are supported over here. Okay, so these are the URLs we have to make use of. And when you create your text translation service for the first time, you can't see the document translation service. Okay, we have to create a custom domain basically. As you can see, the custom domain is nothing but a URL which starts with your text translation service name basically. Okay, whatever name we use to create this text translation, this one. Okay, so by default you can't see the document translation URL, but we have to create if we are going to use the concept of document translation in our applications. Okay, so how we do that, simply go to the networking tab over here. Okay, and here they have provided an option of generate custom domain name. Simply click on this button. I think that's enough. It will create, yeah, it will create a custom domain name for you, and the custom domain name will look like this: https:// your text translation service name dot cognitive services dot azure dot com slash. Okay, so using this URL only you can translate a document basically. Okay, this is the this URL is only used for translating your text, whichever you sent in the HTTP request. I hope that is pretty much clear now. So they have given, I think if you go to the overview page of the text translator, they have given a try editor. simply try something. See, from I'm trying from English, I typed how are you, and I tried to translate it to my local language, that's Kannada, and I got the translation which is proper, which is appropriate basically, and correct one. Okay, so this is how the text translation service works. Now, how to make use of this how to access this text translation service through my code? Okay, what steps I need to take, that I will show you one simple demo now over here. Well, now I'm in Visual Studio, and I have written a simple console based program. So the entire logic is in program.cs. So this sample is given by the Microsoft documentation itself, guys, pretty straightforward, and you can access it in the yeah, in the overview page of your text translation service. Simply click on sample code. You will be given an option for multiple programming languages like C sharp, Java, Python, all those things. Select C sharp. I have selected in my case C sharp. So I have taken the code from there, and what I'm going to do is now, yeah, as you can see, subscription key, the most important thing in order to access this text translation service. Okay, the endpoint, as I previously explained, https://api.cognitive.microsofttranslator.com. Okay, now in order to take the services of translation service, I have to pass my subscription key which I have created while creating this Azure resource. Okay, without this key it won't work. Now, location, yes, I have selected global, and I'm passing the location as global itself. But if you want a specific translation, specific to region basically, then you can send the specific region, but I have kept it as global. Now let's go to the main thread or main program. Okay, input and output languages are defined as parameters. Can you see the route, string route? Okay, the endpoint, see, slash translate question mark API version equal to 3.0, and from, I'm specifying what is the language, from language English. What is the to language? I can pass to language with yeah, ampersand separated parameters, that is to DE Dutch, and to that is FR France. Okay, French basically. Yeah, now I'm providing the text to translate, which is good morning. And what I'm doing is basically I'm encapsulating this text to translate inside a body, a simple C sharp object. Okay, a variant type kind of. So object of body equal to new, object of new text equal to the text I want to translate. Okay, now request body equal to JSON convert or serialize object. Okay, I need to serialize this object to JSON in order to send it over the network stream. Now construct the HTTP client object. Okay, and then construct the HTTP request message object, and then set the various parameters like method. Yes, it must be post because you are sending the text which needs to be translated, and the text can't be a simple text, it can be huge in the length basically. Request URI, the endpoint URI plus the route we have constructed. Okay, and then content is request body, which is your serialized object basically. Okay, yeah, and then encoding format, that is UTF-8, and what kind of request that I am passing is basically application slash JSON headers. Mandatorily we have to set these two headers, otherwise translation service won't work and you will be given errors like unauthorized 401. So what is the headers? OCP hyphen APIM dash subscription dash key, send the subscription key into the header, and then OCP dash APIM dash subscription dash region, the location, the global region that I am sending. These are the mandatory headers you have to set, and then simply, yeah, send the request to the server. Okay, and once you receive the response should contain the translation. So what I will do is I will run the program and I will show how it translates. So I have run the program basically. Now if you see the output, so basically I have received an array of object, basically an array which contains an object called translations. Now I had requested for two locales basically, or two languages, that is I think German and French. So if you see, the text is Guten Morgen for German and Bonjour for French, right? So I'm able to translate my text using the Azure text translation service. Okay, so this is how you should make use of this APIs. So pretty straightforward. Very straightforward to make use of these services. Again, you can explore more on how to translate an entire document. Guys, same thing you need to follow, same approach. Okay, only thing is you have to pass a file over here instead of sending your text into the response body. Okay, you can go through it, and yeah, you can definitely try for the document translations. Now, there are some things you need to consider, and yeah, should be careful, because when you select the pricing tier as pay as you go, do remember, do not run this translation service very frequently, because uh, it will incur more charge basically. Because if you are very sure about, okay, today I'm going to get these many text for the translations, okay, and I want to run it for once in a day, or at least twice or thrice of the day, then what I would suggest is basically uh, create a background job. Okay, create a background job and make use of that background job to do these translations in one shot. Okay, so basically the recommended approach in most of the scenarios that I have seen is, first, the translations will be put into an system database or application databases basically. Okay, so usually the developers will do the development, and whatever new translation texts they introduce, they will put into the database with a unique unique identifier, or you can say the primary key, okay, with respect to each and every module of your application. Now, what they do is, once all these translations are moved into their application database, or into any of the localization based JSON files, now the next step they do is basically they set up a background job. Okay, in Azure DevOps, you can create a pipeline, which is a YML based pipeline. Okay, that will take the responsibility of running these translations in the background. So the advantage of this approach being that, so whatever development you do, basically all such developments involving this kind of text translations will be kept into one place or one store. You can say it can be a JSON file, it can be a database, whatever. Okay, so once in a day, either in the midnight or either in the evening of the day, you run that background job and you translate all the text. And again, once translating the text, once getting all the translation for the required languages, you again store it back into your application database or into your application's localization JSON files. This way, you are making less number of calls to your translation service. By this, you are reducing the charge which you are going to incur for the translations. Okay, I hope you understood the concept of Azure text translation service. uh, we'll meet again in the our next session. Till that, thank you and have a nice evening.